Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and stick around. Also, if you need help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, small group coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. You may also want to check out my mini course, Telepathically Connect with Your Specific Person. So if you guys are interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. For today's video, I was inspired by a comment in one of my previous YouTube videos. And I wanted to talk to you guys and show you how you can actually turn any circumstances with your specific person to your favor. I know all of you manifesting a specific person are dealing with a certain set of circumstances, and these circumstances definitely pose a challenge, but at the same time, they have some unique benefits and some unique advantages. So I want to teach you guys today, with today's video, how you can focus on the advantages of these circumstances, whatever these might be, and how you can use these circumstances to support your manifestation. So this is what I'll be discussing in today's video. Stay tuned. So I know this may sound a little strange, a little paradoxical. How can my circumstances have advantages? How can my circumstances be beneficial? How can I turn any set of circumstances to my favor and to my benefit? Especially if you're dealing with any circumstances that might seem insurmountable to you, I know you're probably wondering how that is possible. Well, this is what I'm here to teach you today. So as I said in my intro, I was inspired to make this video by a comment in one of my previous videos where the person commenting pretty much said that their circumstances felt harder than other people's circumstances. And it had to do with her SP, of course. It had to do with what she saw as insurmountable circumstances, as very difficult, impossible circumstances. And that gave me as a coach an aha moment, because I do see it all the time in people I coach, in people who comment on my videos, in people I talk to, where they see their particular set of circumstances, whatever these might be, as harder than other people's. And let me give you some examples here. If you're manifesting a specific person, and let's say you're in no contact with your specific person, you are likely to regard this set of circumstances, the fact that you're in no contact, as something very, very hard, much harder than if you were in contact with your SP. And you're likely to regard it as something much harder because you are going to focus on the fact that I'm seeing no movement, I'm doing my inner practices, I'm doing my inner techniques, and I'm not seeing anything in the 3D. The 3D is not showing me any change. What is happening? Is what I'm doing even working? I've been in no contact for a while. I have no idea what's happening in the 3D. I have no idea if there's any movement behind the scenes. I don't know anything. I don't know what's happening. At the same time, if you're someone who's manifesting a specific person who you're in contact with, you are likely to see your circumstances as harder compared to being in no contact, because you're likely to see it along the lines of, well, I'm in contact with them, and so the 3D rubs into my face all the time, and I see the 3D all the time, and I get triggered all the time, whereas if I was in no contact, it would be much easier for me to maintain a more stable state, because I wouldn't have the constant triggers of the 3D. If you're manifesting an ex-back, you are likely to see your circumstances as harder than someone's who, let's say, is manifesting a new SP who they've just met, who they've never dated before. So you're likely to think, for example, that, oh, I have all this emotional baggage from that old relationship. I have this old pain, this old hurt, these old wounds. I have this whole backstory with my SP. I've been hurt multiple times. I have set assumptions about them. It's really, really very difficult for me to remove all that resistance I have about the old story and about the circumstances and about who my SP is. At the same time, someone who has never dated their SP yet might feel that it would be much easier to be manifesting an ex-back because you've had the emotional relationship, you've had the emotional connection, you have something to fall back on, and it's easier for you to imagine the connection and all the emotions and all the love and the whole emotional part of the relationship. In comparison to someone who you've never dated before, you don't know how they operate within a relationship, you don't know how they show up in a relationship, and so you might be finding it much harder to actually connect internally with them and feel a deep emotional connection. So then you see from all this how each set of circumstances presents certain challenges. Of course, I will not deny that. But at the same time, each set of circumstances also have some unique advantages. So as conscious manifestors, as people who are training ourselves to hear what we want to hear, to see what we want to see, to select our reality, to dwell in our desired reality until the 3D reflects it. A huge part of this whole conscious manifesting process is what meaning we give to things, how we view things, what perspective we use to see things, and what are our inner perceptions about the situation we find ourselves in. So you want to learn, you want to train yourself to stop looking at all the disadvantages and all the challenges of your circumstances, and instead you want to start focusing on the advantages of your circumstances and use these advantages to your benefit. And to the examples I gave, for example, if you're in no contact with your specific person, I know that hurts. I know it gives you extra stress and extra anxiety to wonder what's happening in the 3D, especially if you haven't seen movement in a while. I know how hard and how confusing it can be to be seeing no change. But at the same time, you've got to appreciate a couple of things in that situation. If you're in no contact, that means you have absolute freedom to imagine your specific person how you want them to be. You don't have the 3D in your face all the time. You don't have the 3D triggering you all the time. So you have ample time and ample opportunity to get into your state of the wishful field and actually maintain that state for long periods of time. And you're able to do that without the 3D interfering, without the 3D triggering you every day or every other day. And that is going to help you sustain that state of the wishful field, which is ultimately going to manifest in your 3D. So you want to tell yourself that you have ample time and ample opportunity to shape yourself into your best version and to imagine your specific person as their best version and sustain that vision until the 3D reflects it. Now, if you're in the opposite scenario where you are in contact with your specific person and you are being triggered in the 3D, I appreciate that that has its difficulties as well, because if you're imagining a different version of reality, a different version of your relationship, and the 3D is taking a while to reflect it, I know how it can take a toll on you. In this situation, you want to focus on the advantages that as soon as the 3D reflects a change, you are likely to know about it. Even if they are small changes here and there, even if your SP at some point says something that is out of character or does something that is out of character or does a little gesture that is out of character for them, that does not correspond with their old version, you are going to be the first to notice because you are in contact with them. So you're not going to have to wait weeks or even months for the 3D to reflect anything and to show movement. You are likely to see the movement very, very fast. And seeing this movement, even if it's in the form of small changes, very gradual changes, is going to help encourage you and help you keep going. So you don't want to dwell on the fact that you are being triggered by the fact that you are in contact with your SP in the 3D. You want to instead focus on the fact that even little changes are going to be reflected to you fast because you are in contact with them, so you are going to notice immediately, and that even if these are little signs here and there, they're still going to encourage you, they're still going to allow you to build on them, to keep going and to keep manifesting the desired reality that you want. In the other example I mentioned, manifesting an ex back, you don't want to be focusing and dwelling on the fact that you're carrying this emotional baggage, you have these past hurts, this past story, these past pains, you are hurt by that old version of your SP perhaps. Instead, you want to be focusing on the fact that because you've been in an emotional relationship with them before, because you've had that emotional connection before, because you've had that romantic connection with them before, A, it's much easier for them to get it back, and B, it's also much easier for you to imagine that reality with them because you've already experienced that reality with them. So you know it's possible, you know it's doable, you know it's something that you've already done before, you've already manifested it before in the past, whether consciously or unconsciously. And so you want to dwell on the fact that it is much easier to bring back that emotional connection and revive it and restore it. And then in the other example that I gave, where you're manifesting an SP who you've never dated before so far, that is also a situation where you could dwell on the challenge of, I don't have the emotional connection with them, so how do I imagine them in a romantic relationship with me if I've never been in a romantic relationship with them before? Or you could actually focus on the advantages of that situation where you're essentially starting from a clean slate, so to speak. You can imagine them as whatever version you want. You don't have set assumptions about them. You don't have a backstory with them. So you can actually easily assume that they are who you want them to be. you can easily assume the kind of romantic relationship that you want with them. You don't have the emotional baggage, you don't have the backstory, you don't have the resistance, you don't have the hurt and the pain of any past circumstances. And so in this case, it's much, much easier for you to imagine the reality that you want with very, very little resistance. And of course, these are just a few examples. I know there are many, many scenarios out there. I know all of you are manifesting a specific person under different sets of circumstances. But the common denominator in all circumstances is that while they do pose some challenges, each set of circumstances also has some unique advantages. So your job as a conscious manifestor is to stop dwelling on the challenges of your circumstances and instead take the advantages of your particular set of circumstances and use them to your favor, use them to your benefit, and use them to support your manifestation. So learn to choose what meaning you give to things, learn to choose your perceptions and your perspective very carefully, and learn to make them align with what you actually want, and you are likely to see a very big difference in how you feel within and then in what the 3D subsequently reflects back to you. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.